These 5 advanced Apex Legends tips will increase your win rate.
Enemy taken down.
Netting yourself a win in Apex Legends can be incredibly difficult and often frustrating at times, especially when you're playing against the game's more experienced players. There's a lot of competitive action in Kings Canyon, and just like any multiplayer game, Apex Legends requires a high level of skill, communication and perseverance. The very best players don't become pros without putting in the practice. In fact, they rely on advanced techniques and strategies to give themselves the edge they need to be crowned champion. We've already gone over the basics in our Apex Legends survival guide, but this feature will provide you with some more advanced tips that will help you increase your chances of securing that all-important victory. Number 1. Mix up your melee moves.
I'm getting shot at.
Give my shields a recharge.
Reloaded.
Finding a gun in Apex Legends' most popular landing zones can be rather tricky, and you can quickly find yourself in an unwinnable situation, especially when you're surrounded by armed foes. However, there are a few melee options that you can use to outplay your target. Apex Legends firefights are incredibly quick and can be won and lost in a matter of seconds, so keeping on the move should be a top priority when attacking. As a result, you'll want to avoid using the game's standard melee action when brawling with armed players, as it can leave you vulnerable to incoming enemy fire and explosives. Instead, keep your opponent on their toes by throwing in some flying jump kicks and sliding uppercuts. You can execute both of these melee attacks by either jumping and sliding, then hitting the melee attack button. These modified moves may not deal any additional damage, but they do make your movements more unpredictable and allow you to easily avoid lethal hits, especially if you're playing as a character with a smaller hitbox, Wraith, Bloodhound, and Lifeline. Unlike the standard punch, these lightning-fast moves also carry your character's momentum, allowing you to slide and jump off buildings when launching a surprise attack on an unsuspecting enemy. Your finisher can also be incredibly useful when ammo is scarce or when you wish to speed up the time to kill. So don't be afraid to use this move when no enemies are close by. Number 2. Learn how to drop faster.
I need help.
We all know how frustrating it can be when you manage to make it to a prized area, only to find that other players have already beat you to all the rare loot. Leaving you with a few light rounds and a Mozambique to your name. With such a scarce amount of items and equipment available. It's rather difficult to avoid the inevitable early game death. After all, those that manage to quickly land in decent areas have better access to game-changing items, while those that lag behind are often forced to fight over the low-tier leftovers. Fortunately, A lot of these early game woes can be avoided by simply adjusting the way you glide down to your chosen destination.
Shots fired at me. Reloading.
Most players usually ping the location they wish to land and simply take a diagonal route down until they reach their target. While this method may seem like a good way to reach your destination, you'll actually lose a great deal of speed and overall travel distance. What you want to do is drop straight down to build up enough speed, 145, then pull back up to begin gliding towards your location, 135, then begin dropping again to gather speed, and continue this process until you reach your destination.
Healing up. Eyes are open though. Making contact with enemy.
Thankfully, keeping an eye on your speed is incredibly easy thanks to the in-game speedometer, so make sure you check the center of the screen every now and then to ensure that your drop is successful.
Right there behind the box. Right behind the box.
This technique will not only increase your chances of survival, it will also give you the best possible opportunity of securing the rarest loot. Number 3. Ping items in enemy death boxes.
Oh my god!
Fucking crazy.
Hell yeah.
Apex Legends ping system is incredibly intuitive and it rewards squads who use it to ping enemy locations.
Need to recharge my shield. Enemy down.
Point out nearby loot, and suggest nearby points of interest. However, many players fail to call out what's inside enemy death boxes. At the time of writing, there is currently no way to tell what equipment allied players have outside of verbal communication. So pinging ammo, attachments, and various consumables is very important. Once you've looted a downed enemy and taken the equipment you need, be sure to quickly ping any items that might be of interest to your squad. After all, these items may just give your teammates the edge they need to save you in a future firefight. Number 4. Break open doors. A lot of squads like to lock down a zone and set up camp inside Apex Legends' many huts and various military storage rooms,
Cover our squad mates. Tango near me.
making it rather difficult to gain access to the loot and foes inside. There are even times when doors can become obstructed by death boxes, downed players, and even caustic gas canisters. Fortunately, Respawn understands how detrimental these doors can be and has given players multiple ways they can breach even the hardiest of defenses. You can take a door off its hinges by simply destroying it with a few melee hits, or throw a frag grenade at its base to blow up the door and anyone standing behind. Just remember that both of these options cause a tremendous amount of noise, so only consider doing this when you want to force a firefight or wish to get out of player-made traps. Number 5. Ping enemy locations when you're downed. Being taken down in Apex Legends is incredibly common, and while it may be tempting to zone out of the on-screen action, it's always a good idea to try and help your fellow squad mates. You may not be able to fight back against your foes when downed, but you can still ping enemy locations and notify your team of their movements. This will not only help friendly players avoid a fatal flank or incoming enemy attack, but it will also allow them to revive or retrieve your dog tag.
Catching myself up.
When downed, try to move to an area that has some form of cover and begin to carefully navigate your way back to your squad. Use your knockdown shield to sponge incoming damage and get as close to your allies as possible. Keep a cool head and give your teammates the information they need so that they can swing a fight in your favor.